So I've been using my wheelchair for about 4-ish years now. And before that, I used walking sticks and crutches. And especially since using my wheelchair, I've experienced a lot more hate crime.
Last year, I spoke to disabled people about their experiences with discrimination. But a year on, and the situation hasn't improved, and in some ways, the experiences get more disturbing.
I know for me, I've experienced a lot of hate crime in terms of people grabbing me and inappropriately touching me. And I think things around when I'm getting on public transport, if I'm getting on trains or tubes or buses, lots of people sort of come over and offer to help, but it's very much under the guise of sort of touching my chest or touching my crotch or those sorts of things. And I think it looks like they're helping, so people don't really notice or don't take note of it at all, but in reality it's just sexual assault, specifically because I'm disabled.
Do you think disabled people know when or how to report incidents?
I've reported one incident in my life. I filled it in on this website and they sent it over to my local police station, and it was sort of 2 weeks afterwards and the police called me and were like, oh, it's too late for you to have reported this, sort of thing. So like, I don't think disabled people know how to report it, and then when you sort of work up the courage and you do, often it's too late or they're not willing to try and like help you with your case. So for me, it ends up feeling a little bit pointless. Since then and sort of that learning, I'm a lot more aware, but I think a lot of disabled people aren't. You just have these really awful experiences and they sit with you for a really long time, and even the idea that something can be done isn't really an option in your mind.
In 2020, there was a hate crime strategy which had a focus on protecting disabled people. But that hasn't been renewed, and instead hate crimes will be rolled into a wider policing strategy. The United Response Charity says this could mean disabled people get less justice. What do you think to be done?
We'd like to see central government funding for all police forces to have a disability liaison officer in every police station across the country. This, we believe, would make people feel much more confident to report when they've been a victim of a disability hate crime or an incident. We also would like to see the government renew its commitment to introduce its hate crime strategy. Our worry is that it could have the same outcome as someone who has their mobile phone stolen, but for disabled victims, there is a long-lasting impact when they're a victim of disability hate crime.
Rachel is based in Leeds and has experienced discrimination while travelling on public transport. When do you feel most vulnerable?
A lot of hate crime happens on public transport because you're isolated during the journey, which makes some people feel more confident in saying mean things or doing mean things.
Does it stop you using public transport?
Sometimes it makes me think twice, but you can't live your life like that.
Rachel doesn't want to be defined by this abuse. It's about society changing, not disabled people. What do you think should change?
We really need disabled people and able-bodied people to be more aware of what disability hate crime looks like, because people, I think, are becoming more aware of sort of what race-based hate crime looks like or homophobia looks like, but that hasn't extended to disability the same, and I think that really needs to happen.
The Home Office told us we expect the police to take these crimes extremely seriously and work with the CPS to ensure victims receive justice. And the College of Policing, who train officers, say they are given access to advice on working with disabled victims of crime. Disabled people want to live their lives freely, and there are many positive steps being made in everyday life. But how we handle discrimination is a sign that we've still a long way to go to make disabled people feel safe. This is Ruben Reuter reporting for Channel 4 News.